Hello, everyone. Let me check everything. Yes, we are good. Okay, so let me now send you guys the invite. Okay, so it's not letting me do it this way. So we will trick it. We'll have to trick the YouTube system, probably, if we can. Let's see. Something is terribly wrong today with the internet. Okay, so we are all set. Okay, guys, I'm ready. Okay, so guys, you're here. Very good. Can you all see me? Can you all hear me? Because we are about to discuss something really, really important. Okay, keep typing. So, and I will come back to you guys. Don't worry. I will not ignore you guys. So everyone got it? Everyone got it? Almost. So guys, just stay tuned, stay with me, be patient. I will definitely get back to all of you. I'm looking at your messages. Hi, Nabil. Hi, Govin, Anna, Priyanka, Pushimi. So are you guys all set? This is a very, very important session. Make sure you guys have a pen and a notebook with you so that you can take notes. Okay, more people are joining. Okay, very good, very good. I'm seeing more people are joining now. Don't miss today's session. It is something new, something better, something improved. I'm taking you all to a new level. I know some of you just want basic information, but this one is important. Just one more minute, guys. One more minute. And we are all set. Okay, so we have enough people. Very good. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. And you guys can see me clearly, right? I have the screen on the right side, so I will be able to give you the answers of your questions. And remember, if you still have questions and concerns after this session, then a phone call. You guys will leave me a message, and I will talk to you. So remember that we are always there for you. We are not ignoring you. So remember this. You can communicate after the class as well. So now, first of all, again, congratulations to the published authors this week. So many people published their papers, and congratulations on new enrollees, all the students who have just enrolled. So I congratulate you all. And for all the new admissions, please make sure you create an account on the website. So I'll give a brief orientation, then I'll send you an orientation video in more detail, because I want to make sure that we learn something here in today's class. So am I in the right? Yeah, I think this is right. Because if I go further, okay, Aisha Masood, Mushreen, thank you. Good afternoon, Maria, thank you. Elisa, Maria, Elisa, Juan, thank you. Oh, it's no Gonak. Okay, Eamon, thank you. Eamon, I saw one of your messages. I couldn't reply to you. I'll get back to you after the session. Okay. Shireen, Izima, Sari, Surbi, Deepak, Karez, Rini, Nabil, Andrew. Welcome back, Andrew. Okay, so everyone, let's talk about this. Everyone should create an account on the website. And then click on the button so you see the bonus features. You will see the advanced 48 videos. I want all of you to watch those. And there are some bonus courses, certificate courses we have given to you as a gift, because I wanted you guys to learn more and get more certificates and have a bigger CV. So those are gift courses from us. So don't ignore them, and we are not taking them away until you finish all them from your account. So don't worry about it. You will keep it. You will keep it until you finish. So finish it. In fact, even after finishing it, you will keep it. We are not taking it away. So it's a lifelong gift. So take it, complete those courses, but as soon as possible, because this is very important. Click on your dashboard. Once you click on profile, so you create your account. Step number 1, you create an account, your username and password. Then click on the profile, Tier 2 list author program, to watch all the videos. Click on every link. There are lecture notes, ebooks, exercise book as well. Practice exercise book. Practice it. So the more you practice, the more you learn, the more videos you watch, the better you will become. Because this course is not just for this 2 months and you become a published author, but it's a process. You will continue to be with us, and you keep learning and you keep growing, and we will keep adding more and more gifts for you as well. So now, who is this Mrinal? Okay, so if you have issues, send me in the email address and we will see. Otherwise, try on different computer, different cell phone. It should work. It should work. Okay, now, second thing is that you attend your live classes on the weekends, all the new admissions, and you will get the recordings of your classes. So if you miss anything, don't worry about it. Watch the recording. And even if you don't miss anything, still watch recordings, because it is very important. You learn more if you keep watching the recordings. And today's session, watch today's session multiple times. Today's session is going to be very useful. I will conduct one live question answer session every week, usually on Tuesdays initially as we planned, but the things are looking different and maybe I'll change the day. But usually it is on Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. California time. And the weekly classes on Zoom will be on the weekend. And you will get the recordings of both classes after the class. And will also you will be there in live student discussion sessions. Sure, you are attending the student discussion sessions. You will learn about this in your first class. All the students who have already taken, so make sure everything that is told to you during this program. Now, I didn't get the recordings of last Thursday. It's on the link is on there, on your group. I haven't deleted it. Okay, thank you guys. Let's begin. Today we will talk about the systematic review. Many of you wanted to go deeper and wanted to learn more, right? Although the choice is yours. If you feel you don't have time, go with a traditional review. But if you have time, then go with a systematic review and do it as we are telling you to do. Follow it. So what is a systematic review? First of all, you need to understand the difference between the reviews. So difference between the reviews. There are 3 kinds of reviews. Traditional. Hold on. Okay. Okay, everyone is just all set. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll keep this as a recording for you guys. Okay, so I'm officially recording it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Today we will talk about systematic reviews. Everything about systematic reviews in today's session. What is a systematic review? In order to understand what a systematic review is, you need to understand different kinds of articles first. Traditional review, the most common type. Then comes the systematic review. Then comes the third one, meta-analysis. So what is a traditional review? Traditional review, systematic review. What are review articles? Review articles are secondary research. We call it as desk research because we do it on desk. I don't know if that is the logic. Desk research. So we do it on desk, and it's a secondary research. And in systematic reviews and in traditional reviews, in meta-analysis, one thing is common. You collect data from previously published papers. In review articles, you collect data from previously published papers. So remember, this is very important. You collect data from previously published papers, and your whole paper will be a combination of other people's papers. Easy language. I'm telling you in easy language. Your paper will be a mixture of other people's papers. You combine information from previously published papers related to your topic, and you formulate a beautiful paper combining their papers. Just like essay writing, when you write a story or an essay, you have some things, data in your mind, you're thinking about it. But in traditional review or any system, any kind of review, you collect data from previously published sources. So you collect information from other papers, and your whole paper will actually be 90%, I would say, 70, 80% would be other people's papers. You combine them together, and the remaining will be your ideas and your thoughts. What do you think about it? But you will not be doing any experiment with real patients here. Same thing here. Same thing here. So in traditional review, usually they are broad. Their question, research question or topic is broad. But in systematic review and meta-analysis, it's narrowed to the point. Here, traditional review, the research question, we don't need any PICO question. We can just start with a regular question. Here, we do need PICO, or we may not. If you want to follow PICO and you want to write a systematic review with all 4 components, then actually it will become a meta-analysis. Highly likely it will become a meta-analysis because it will become statistical. So we'll talk about this PICO question and everything. So I don't want to confuse you right now. Just remember for this, for now. Just remember for now, broad, narrowed, narrowed. Systematic review and meta-analysis are narrowed. Traditional review are broad. Now traditional reviews will follow no guidelines, no checklist. You just write as you like it. Methods and results section are optional. Methods and results section are optional. So narrative review. Yes. Narrative review. We also call it as narrative. This is also known as narrative review. This is also known as narrative review because you write it like a narration, like a story. So traditional review is also known as narrative review. It's usually broad. No guidelines are followed. Everyone can have their own style of the paper, their own style, their own sequence, whatever you like. Method and results are optional. So you will see so many review articles without method and results. No checking of quality. So all good and bad quality papers can be included. That's why the traditional review evidence is not one of the highest in the world, because it can have bias, because you're including all kinds of papers. That's a traditional review. Usually, if you're working on a thesis in PhD, you do the literature search and you write. Your traditional review is also ready. You bring a research gap, and then you justify that, okay, this is why I'm doing this thesis, my project, because there is a gap and I have published this paper already. You can justify this by showing even a traditional review. You show a gap in the traditional review. Now, another name for traditional review, literature review. Many people say, what is literature review? This has 3 names. traditional review, narrative review, and literature review. Literature review. But when we search data from previous published sources, we also call this process as literature review. So literature review process is done here too, in this paper, in this paper. But if I say write a literature review paper, publish a literature review paper, I am actually saying that publish a traditional review. I hope you understand the point. Traditional review has three names: narrative review and literature review. Traditional review has three names: narrative review, traditional review, and so many other names. Critical review. Anything other than systematic review, you can say, okay, that's a traditional review if it's a review. And in traditional review, we do the literature search, we'll do literature review, but we also call it as literature review. That's the name of the article too. That's the name of the study design too. So remember, literature review is actually a process. We do literature review when we collect previously published papers. So yes, we do literature review, but we will not call it a literature. We will call it a systematic review, because literature review name is only confined to traditional reviews. In systematic reviews, we do literature review. How much? 80-90%. Only 10% will be, or 20% will be your suggestions, your ideas. But just like this, your paper main data and everything will be included of previously published papers. The third one is meta-analysis. Systematic review becomes meta-analysis if it's statistical. That's it. And it is that statistical that you need to do data analysis. Statistical data analysis through a software. And what is the most common software? Review Manager. Review Manager is the most common software to do meta-analysis. Most famous. There are many other softwares too. You can use any of those. People use different softwares, but Review Manager is the most famous one. So I did not say that there is only one software. Remember this. Please don't confuse this. Review Manager is one of the most famous ones, but there are other softwares for data analysis, for meta-analysis. Now, what is meta-analysis? A systematic review becomes meta-analysis when it becomes statistical. And of course, your research question plays an important role in making a meta-analysis. If your question is such that you now have to do meta-analysis, then this systematic review will be known as systematic review plus meta-analysis, because you go through this journey. You complete systematic review, and the next step is the meta-analysis. But if you are scared of meta-analysis, you don't want to do that, then just write a qualitative systematic review. Make sure it doesn't become statistical just by excluding the comparison group. Telling you an easy way, just by removing a comparison group in your research question. When you don't discuss anything about a comparison group, your systematic review will remain qualitative, and you will not have to go into deep statistics. That's one way to avoid it, but may not work all the time. May become statistical. So what else is systematic review all about? Systematic review follows certain guidelines. What guidelines? The most famous ones? Prisma Guidelines. Preferred reporting items of systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis. These guidelines, they have a checklist. You just Google, go and just Google it, Prisma checklist. And you will see so many websites showing you Prisma checklist template. You can find it anywhere. It's free. It's free, available for everyone. Even in the images on Google, you can find Prisma checklist. Prisma checklist, you make sure your paper is according to Prisma guidelines and Prisma checklist. If your paper is according to Prisma guidelines and checklist, then it's a systematic review. So now the question is, do you think meta-analysis will need Prisma guidelines, Prisma checklist? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because systematic review becomes meta-analysis. Systematic review will become meta-analysis. Now, systematic review will follow guidelines, Prisma guidelines. You will have a narrow research question. Usually you follow PICO format, but you may not follow. You can remove the comparison group so that it doesn't become statistical, and try to keep it qualitative if you want to finish a systematic review faster. Don't make it quantitative. What do I mean by qualitative and quantitative? Quantitative means numbers and statistics is involved. You try to avoid statistics if you are in a hurry. You want to complete a systematic review faster, then try to find a research question that does not go into statistics. You will learn more and more with experience, of course. And we'll teach you all of these things in the complete course as we move forward in the course. So now you understand you don't need PICO in the traditional review. But can you? Of course you can, but not mandatory. Here you can bring highly recommended without comparative group if you are in a hurry. But if you're not in a hurry, then go with comparative group and see if it goes into the meta-analysis. And now, third thing is method and result section are almost mandatory because they are required by Prisma. They are required by Prisma, so they are mandatory. They are mandatory. Method and results. Let me make it clear. Method and results. Method and results section are mandatory because they are required by Prisma. You also need to draw a Prisma flow diagram. That's mandatory. Here you just simply draw regular tables and figures, but here Prisma flow diagram is a must. Prisma flow diagram comes over here in the meta-analysis too, because if it becomes meta-analysis, remember meta-analysis is the extension of a systematic review. Systematic review becomes meta-analysis. Systematic review becomes meta-analysis. So remember this. Now, what else? You have a robust inclusion-exclusion criteria. Here you had an option whether to keep an inclusion-exclusion criteria or not, but here you must have an inclusion-exclusion criteria, and it is also required by Prisma. So you have an inclusion-exclusion criteria that these kind of, this will be my focus, male patients or heart failure patients. So you have a strict inclusion-exclusion criteria, what kind of data you will collect. What kind of data you will collect. And then the quality. Here you did not check quality, but here you will check quality of every article that you have included in your paper. Your systematic review, let's say, is a combination of 50 papers. So you have to check the quality of each paper. Paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4, paper 5, paper 6, paper 7, paper 8, paper 9, paper 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, until 20. Until 50. All 50 papers, you will check the quality of all 50 papers. Usually, what is the length of a systematic review? Minimum 5 references. Yes, minimum 5 references I would suggest, and go up to 50. Of course, there is no universal consensus on how big a systematic review can be. It depends upon your need, your research question. But as a new person, if you're writing a systematic review for the first time, try to concise it to 50 references. I would say 5 if there is no data available, but try to keep it between 20 and 50, 20 and 50 references, 20 and 50 articles. So that's systematic review and meta-analysis and traditional review difference. Now the steps. We will talk about these steps. What are these steps? What is a systematic review? Why do we call it a systematic review? Now the point is, why do we call it a systematic review? Remember, this class is not on traditional review. So we are not talking about traditional review today. We will do that some other day. And you have plenty of videos already. We are not talking about statistical part here today. We are talking about the systematic review. Some students call it as systemic review. This is the biggest mistake. Don't call it a systemic review. Call it as systematic review. Systematic review. Systematic review. Systematic review. Don't call it systemic. Systematic review. Now, what does that mean? As the name suggests, you have to develop a system. Why? Because, now let me give you an example. In traditional reviews, if I give a similar topic, same topic, to 5 students, if I give 5 of you the same topic, exact same topic, let's say congestive heart failure and skin problems. Let's say this is my topic. I give you that target to write a traditional review. All 5 of you will write a different paper. Some of you will have different references, different references altogether, different style, different headings. All 5 paper will be different. But a systematic review follows a system. It means anyone who follows the system will produce exact same results, will produce exact same papers again and again, even after 100 years. When we die after 100 years, of course, we all probably will be dead, unless somebody is really, don't know, genetically immune to death. So, I mean, that was a joke. So anyways, now, even after 100 years, if somebody sees your systematic review and opens it and says, okay, is it a good system or not? Let's check. Am I getting the exact same papers as this person claims? He will run your system step by step, and he or she will confirm and will say, wow, what a scientist. 100 years ago, he wrote a systematic review, and I checked it today after 100 years, 21. Yeah. So in 21, when you will have another pandemic, coronavirus, probably every 100 years a pandemic comes. So maybe a coronavirus going on, and this scientist wants to study previous papers, what happened 100 years ago during the coronavirus times. So now he is searching, and he searches your paper, and he finds he follows the system, and he finds exact same papers. So he says, wow, during the last pandemic, 2021 and 2020, this group of scientists, they were amazing. Literally. They created a system that even if I follow today, I get the same results. So how do we create such a system? So remember, number one, I want you to remember, creating a system. We are creating a system. We are creating a system. Now, systematic review system is divided into, I would say, three phases. Phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is simply planning, and we'll talk about this. Phase 2 is complicated. It has many steps. Phase 3 is a little easier. Now, what are these phases? Phase 1, we are talking about phase 1. Phase 1 now. So everyone take out a piece of paper or a notebook and a pen, and let's talk about this. Phase 1 of a systematic review. What is the first thing? First step, I'm talking about phase 1 because there are 3 phases, right? We are working on the first phase of systematic review. That means your first 2 days. I want you to just spend 2 days on phase 1, and then next few days on phase 2, next few days on phase 3. So phase 1. So don't get scared. If you divide the phases into days, you can easily do a systematic review. How do you eat an elephant? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. This is an example we give in addiction counseling, that how do you eat an elephant when they say, how can I be sober? I have been using drugs. How can I be sober? So we tell the client, we tell the patient that one bite at a time. Elephant is eaten one bite at a time. That means 1 day at a time. So 1 day at a time. You don't need to complete your whole systematic review in 1 day. Calm down, relax, step by step, 1 step at a time. Now, phase 1. What is the first step? Step 1 of phase 1. Open Prisma checklist in front of you. I want all of you to open a Prisma checklist document copy, if you can print it out, right next to you. That's your first step, so that you don't forget that your systematic review has to follow this guideline. That's the step number 1. Second is research question. Now let's say your topic is let's say what medication should I write down here? Escitalopram plus itching. So you are focusing on that. So how do you create a research question? Research question can be of various kinds, and you have already gone through it during the course. It is discussed in the videos too. So I will not go into the detail of research question, how to create research question. I assume you already know how to create a research question, but I'll give a brief highlight that ideally what is preferred is, it is called as PICO question. PICO means P for population or a problem, I for intervention, C for comparison, O for outcome. So these are the things. PICO question. So you bring male patients male depressed patients, that's your patient population, who take escitalopram intervention, male depressed patients, intervention is escitalopram, and the outcome is they develop an itch. In comparison to those people who don't take escitalopram, if you have a comparison group as well, if you're focusing on that, it will become a bigger question. So right now, just focus on a question without a comparative group. So this is how you create a research question. You can, yes, you now many people will be thinking, why did he say don't include this comparison group? I said, yes, you can if you want to. If you want a shorter paper, a non-statistical qualitative paper, then you don't. Otherwise, it is going to be a meta-analysis very soon. So I'm just giving you options. Now, this is how the research question is developed. So you have a research question, PICO question. So research question is ready. I'll clean the board so you guys can see. You open the Prisma checklist in front of you. Second step is you create your research question. What is the third step? Create a separate document and call it as data sheet or protocol. Data sheet or protocol. This is a very important thing. Everything that you will do, you will record on this page, on your protocol page, on your data sheet page, every single step, because everything is actually your plan, and this is exactly your method is. So this is going to help you in writing your method section. And what else proposal is needed for? Anyone has an idea? Oh, sorry, protocol. What is proposal? Protocol. Sorry. What is protocol needed for? Protocol is needed for the fourth step, that is registration of your systematic review. Now, for registration, where do we go? There is a website, Prospero. So you go and register your systematic review on Prospero as the last step. But this step, the fourth step, is optional. Don't worry about it. It is important for clinical trials. For clinical trials, you have to register on the registration websites. But in systematic review and meta-analysis, you don't have to. It's not mandatory. It's recommended and it's optional. But if you ask my view, first of all, why do we do registration? Why do we do registration? So that the future scientists should know that somebody is writing a paper on systematic review on escitalopram in male depressed patients causes itching. So when I register it, other scientists will be able to see that, okay, so Dr. XYZ or Dr. Hassaan Tohid, that's me, is working on a systematic review of this topic. That means we have to focus on something else. So they will see your protocol. You will submit your protocol there. They will see your protocol. They will understand what you are doing, what you're focusing on, and what databases are you focusing on. If you just focus on PubMed, then they can say, okay, he's writing a paper just simply on PubMed related topics. So why can't we do a same topic, but we focus on other databases? So that's how protocol and registration can help future scientists decide whether they should work on your paper or not, on the topic or not. If somebody already has the idea. If somebody already has the idea, they drop the idea. They say, okay, this is done, so we can't do it, we shouldn't do it. We can do it and we shouldn't do it. So the phase one, you start with the Prisma checklist, you open it, you create your research question, and then you create your protocol datasheet page. And once that is done, everything is done on your plan. What do you want to do? What are you planning to do? You register it. Once it is registered, other people will be able to see if your paper is, if the topic has been taken by somebody else. So they focus on another topic. Now, why I don't support registering systematic reviews or any article whatsoever, I don't recommend. You know why? I have my own reasons to believe. The reason is that, let's say I select a topic, same topic, escitalopram in depressed patients causes itching, and I'm looking at the association, and I have written a protocol, I submitted and registered it, and I die tomorrow. Registration websites will not mention that this scientist died and this research project has stopped. They will not know. So what is the issue now? That means nobody will ever work on this paper. Nobody will ever work on that paper. That's why I am against registration. Many people ask me, argue with me, why do you don't agree with the registration? That's why, because many scientists have passed away, they have died, and now we don't know if the topic is still going on, if this person is still working on that paper. For past 5 years, this has been in the list. Other people are thinking, oh, maybe the scientists are still working on that paper. This is going to be a very high quality paper. 5 years. But they don't understand probably that he died the very first year. For past 4 years, the name is there. Or for past 1 year, the name is here, and nobody else is working on it, but this scientist passed away 11 months ago. So that's why I believe registration is not needed. This is the first phase. So make sure you have your document ready with a title, protocol, and data sheet or data sheet. So you will have a document ready, one document separate on a Word document or any similar document. You call it as protocol. On protocol, you will mention your research question on the data sheet, and you will have the Prisma guidelines attached to it right next to it, because everything will be according to Prisma. And then registration, as I said, my students don't need to register. So this is the phase one. Congratulations. The phase one is done. That means 2 more phases left for a systematic review. Now, what is the phase two? I want your full attention now. This is something that needs focus. Phase two has certain points. Phase two has certain points. Search strategy. Is that the correct spelling? Search strategy. Search strategy. That means, how will you search your papers? How will you search your papers? Now, how do we do it? How do we do it? The first thing first is just on PubMed or on Google or any website that can give you the research papers. First of all, where do you find research papers? On databases. So this is very basic thing I'm telling you. Databases are the websites where you will find papers. So what are the most famous websites? or databases, you call it databases. From now onwards, you will not call a research related website where there are research papers available a website. You will call it as database. Scientist terminology, database. A website that has research papers available is known as database. Most famous database for medical students and doctors and healthcare professionals, PubMed. PubMed. Another one, Medline. Another one, PubMed Central. Now, these are all one family. So don't worry about it. Just PubMed is fine. So these three are one family by the same organization, National Library of Medicine. Second common database is Web of Science. Third one, Embase, PsycInfo, Cochrane Library. So many. And Google Scholar. The last one is Google Scholar. Google Scholar still is becoming better and better. So we keep it as the last option. So there are so many databases, but I'm just telling you the common names. So let's say you go on PubMed first, PubMed website. In the search bar, you write down depression, patients, itching, escitalopram, and you search it. See what results are showing. Or just write down itching and escitalopram and see what is available. What is available? If there are plenty of papers, I would say if in last 5 years you have at least 100 papers talking about that topic, just by one look, that means you have selected a right topic. If it is not giving you enough papers, then you change the topic. Maybe focus on another problem rather than itching, or focus on another medication. Change the topic. If there are very few papers available, I would say for my students, if less than 100, hold on. If less than 100 articles are available altogether, then move to a new topic. If more than 100 articles are available in last 5 years, more than 100 in 5 years, that means you have hit a jackpot. That means you can write a wonderful paper now. Even a traditional review, you can write a wonderful traditional review if you have these many papers available. So search strategy, we are deciding our search strategy. We haven't done anything yet. We just first confirmed if the research question was correct. So we were actually still at phase 1. Now we are entering into phase 2. We have confirmed our topic is good. Our topic is good. Now the first thing first is decide an inclusion-exclusion criteria. Inclusion-exclusion criteria. What do you include in the inclusion-exclusion criteria? What do you include? Patients. What kind of patients? Male patients, female patients. What kind of studies? Clinical trial, non-clinical trial. Or let's say there is a list. There is a list of things you can do in inclusion-exclusion criteria. Okay, so now give me a second. We will go deeper into inclusion-exclusion criteria. We will go deeper into inclusion-exclusion criteria if you don't know how to do it. But it's so simple. You just decide. You are the boss of your own paper. How do you decide inclusion-exclusion criteria? Your research question. Your research question will give you an idea what your inclusion-exclusion criteria is. So let's say your inclusion criteria is male, because we were focusing on male depressed patients. We will focus on depressed patients in psychiatry, not any other patients. We'll focus on patients with the symptoms of itching. We'll focus on the studies that are non-randomized because there is no control group. So we now know exactly what we are focusing on. So this is how you will decide the inclusion exclusion criteria. I'll give you the examples later that what are possible kinds of inclusion that you can do depending upon your paper. For me, for the topic that I mentioned, my inclusion criteria comes out to be like this: male patients, and maybe I can also include besides clinical non-randomized trial, I can also include clinical trials to see what is available. Maybe I can include some observational studies and see what is available. Maybe some case studies. Okay. So that's something you can do, inclusion exclusion. But we will go deeper later, because I want you to differentiate between inclusion exclusion criteria and screening of papers later. So your inclusion exclusion criteria is hidden in your research question. Hidden in your research question. Now, the next thing is you decide, select the databases that you will use. Means websites you will use. So you select databases. You start with, let's say, PubMed. If you are a healthcare student, of course, PubMed. Your next one will be Web of Science. Next will be Cochrane, or the next will be Embase, PsycInfo. So you just decide 5 databases as your main to-go databases that during your publication process, during your systematic review process, you will just find data on these 5 websites and nothing else. So you are just deciding. And if you have time, then of course you can go to as many databases as possible, but we don't have enough time. Set a deadline and choose like 2 databases. I usually choose 2 databases if I want to finish a paper fast: PubMed and maybe Web of Science or Google Scholar. Anyone besides PubMed. So yeah, I have 2 databases. So now you know your databases, you know your inclusion exclusion criteria. Now what else do you know? You should know. What else should you know? Your keywords and your, now this is a new name for many, right? Subject heading, or we call it as controlled vocabulary. Controlled vocabulary. Controlled vocabulary. So you need to decide your keywords for your paper. Let's say my paper was, again, let's say I write the same thing: escitalopram, my topic, male patients, depressed patients, and they have itch. So these are my ideal paper, right? My niche market in the business terminology. So that's my topic. So how do I decide my keywords? It's simple. Keywords are here. What is the main big things you can see on your research question? Escitalopram, depression, and itch. These are my 3 keywords. Depression, and escitalopram, and itch. These 3 are my keywords. Now, what else can be my keywords? Can you think of more keywords? So you have to try to think more and more. Try to, now remember, in the search strategy, we should go and follow the style that's called building block style. So your first keyword escitalopram, second keyword depression, third keyword itch. You will search just like in Google. When you go to Google and search something, you search escitalopram and you will get the papers, right, or the information related to that medication. But are there other options? Are there other medication? Yes. Any market name? What is the market name? Maybe, I'm not sure. Lexapro is the market name. So yes, it can give you the papers related to escitalopram. And what else? Antidepressant, anti-anxiety. You can go up to 3, 4, maybe 5 keywords. Just think about it. And now second keyword, depression. Can there be something similar to depression? Sadness, grief. What else will give me more papers related to depression? Major depressive disorder, MDD. The whole name, major depressive disorder. Dysthymia. Some other terminologies similar to depression. So I have 5 keywords related to depression. I have 5 keywords related to escitalopram, or maybe 3. And I have 3 or 5, maybe 4 keywords related to itch, as much as I could think. Let's say for itch, I could only find itching, pruritus. So I could only find these keywords that can help me find papers. So these will be my searching keywords. But are these enough? No, they are not enough. We always do a combined search. Keywords plus the control vocabulary. Remember, control vocabulary, the mesh keywords, are a unique or strange thing adopted by certain databases. For example, PubMed has it. I think PsycInfo has it. A couple of more databases have the mesh strategy. So when you are using those databases, you will have to use regular keywords plus mesh keywords. If a database does not have mesh keywords, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Then you don't need to worry about it. You just follow keywords. That's it. Your keywords will be your search strategy. But on PubMed, PsycInfo, these big ones, they will have the control vocabulary, the subject heading way of searching data. So does it make sense? I'll repeat again. Keywords will be used on all databases, but on certain databases like PubMed and some other databases that have the system of control vocabulary, we cannot just rely on keywords if it's a systematic review. We must rely on both control vocabulary, also known as subject heading, and in PubMed terminology, or on PubMed, it is known as medical subject heading, mesh strategy, mesh keywords. So you will do the regular keywords plus mesh keywords. So remember, how did we decide our keywords? By the research question. How do we decide our inclusion exclusion criteria? By the research question. And how do we decide our mesh keyword? Now that's a challenge, right? No, it's not a challenge. It's very easy. Actually, you will learn more with experience. That's true. But what if I tell you a shortcut, a secret that makes you really perfect. That makes you really perfect. So your search strategy will be your keywords plus mesh, right? On PubMed, or just subject heading, control vocabulary on other databases. Remember, I think there are only 4 databases that have the subject heading strategy. So you will rely on this and you will rely on this. You cannot just rely on this. You only rely on this on if you are just searching Web of Science or you are searching Google Scholar. Then you don't need this problem. Then you don't need this problem. If your database to go is Google Scholar or Web of Science, then you don't need this stress of mesh. But is mesh strategy a stress? No. How do you find the mesh keyword for your paper? Go to PubMed website. Go to the PubMed website. In the search bar, just in the search bar, write down your research question. Just the main keywords of your research question. Now, many would say, what is he doing? Yes, I'm telling you a secret. Listen to me. This is very important. In the search bar, you will now appreciate what I'm saying. You search in your PubMed search bar. The 3 big things were escitalopram, depression, and itching or pruritus. Then you click search. Once you click on search, it will show you some papers. Now, quickly go through all the papers and see which paper is the most relevant to these 3 words, or which article is the closest to these. You will definitely find one. Once you found one, you click on it. You click on the paper. Once you click on the paper on PubMed, don't go to the full paper, just the PubMed link. On the right corner, you will see the mesh strategy, and at the bottom, you will see the mesh strategy, what these scientists used. You now know what is the mesh keyword that you need to use. Magic. You get the major keyword now. Mesh keyword is again done in the same way. The mesh strategy is also done in the same way. You divide it into 3 because you had 3 main things to focus on in your research paper. We call it as a building block approach. Building block approach. That means the first one is depression. Second one is, wow, this is going to be very, very interesting. Someday I'll share my screen with you guys, and I will literally show you how it is done, so that you know exactly how it is done. So you have the keywords, and we are on phase 2, right? We are on phase 2. In phase 2, you have the keywords and you have the mesh. You have 3 keywords, right? Not three. You have 5 of these, 4 of these, 3 of these, maybe 5 of these. These were your keywords, right? Remember? These were your keywords. If you don't understand, watch the video again. Watch the video again. I will keep it here, and you can watch it fast forward if you feel it's wasting time. But it is really important. You need to understand this. You have the keywords, and the similar way you will have now the mesh. See the similar mesh keyword that is used in that article. So let's say your depression mesh keyword is depression. One is depression. And if you see on PubMed, I wish I could show to you. In the next session, I will. That on the PubMed, on the mesh page, when you write depression, now you will have an option to add that strategy as your search strategy. So you click on add, and you can add more points in here. Maybe you will find something, depression and escitalopram, maybe. maybe antidepressant. In your search strategy, in your mesh tree, PubMed will give you more options that why don't you try this, or why don't you try this, why don't you try this, maybe this will work better for your paper. So you keep your research question in mind and start looking at the tree paper, your research question. Now click on it, add it as your strategy. So let's say depression plus something is your search strategy that is added. You click on add, and then you copy paste it here on your protocol page, on your data sheet page or protocol page. The second thing you will do is, some people will say, why on protocol page? It's okay if you don't want to do it. Just at least maybe on a simple rough page, you should have a data sheet. That's very important, and you have to be very, very organized. You have to be very, very organized. So depression and something. Escitalopram, what is the mesh for that? See whatever is the mesh search mesh keyword for escitalopram. PubMed will show you. There is a button says mesh. There are two ways you can find mesh, and the third way is by directly opening any paper and going at the bottom. There are different ways. I will share the screen and I will explain to you in the next session so that you guys know how mesh strategy is actually done. Now, the third one is pruritus or itching, whatever is the mesh keyword used, and you want to add something or not. Doesn't matter. So now, are only mesh keywords enough? No. Mesh keywords are never enough because some papers are now being added with different keywords, not with mesh keywords. So mesh alone is not enough. Similarly, simple keywords are not enough. So you need to combine all of them, this and this. So now you will copy paste this one and bring it here. So you will have a whole line now, major depression mesh strategy plus the search strategy of the keywords. So you will have something like this. Mesh strategy plus regular keywords. Keyword number 2, 3, 4, 5. Mesh 2. Second keyword. Mesh strategy plus the keyword 1, keyword 2, keyword 3, keyword 4, keyword 5. Mesh strategy 3. Same. Keyword 1, we had 3 keywords for this, right? For itch, itching, and pruritus. So itch, itching, and pruritus. And you have this strategy. Now, each keyword one by one, you run this in the search bar. This terminology you search in the PubMed search bar, and you click on it, and whatever number it shows, 5,602, let's say, you will keep it saved. You will mention it here right next to it that this strategy gave me these many papers. The second strategy gave me these many papers. The third strategy gave me these many papers. Why do you need these numbers? You will need these numbers to write in your method section. You will need these numbers. So this is how the search strategy is done. Mesh plus keyword, total number. Mesh plus keyword for the second keyword, total number. Mesh plus the keyword for the third important point. And now you have strategy, complete strategy of search, and you have the total number of papers. Now you add them, that these many papers were found in PubMed, because we're talking about mesh only. These many papers were found, let's say, total all three together, let's say, are 1,109 papers. So 1,109 papers were just found on PubMed. And this was all after inclusion exclusion criteria. General search initially gave you like 6,000 papers. So after applying the inclusion exclusion criteria and the proper search strategy, you have now 1,109 papers left. Now, can you apply, if it's still a lot, can you apply a rigid filter? You can apply a rigid filter that can be another inclusion criteria, last 5 years. Once you focus on last 5 years, now you are doing screening. You are looking at these papers quickly. Now the article screening, what is article screening? You look at your abstracts and titles quickly, abstract and title quickly, as soon as possible, and you decide which ones to keep, which ones not to keep. Some are 100% in, some are 100% out, some are 50-50. You are not sure. So those who are you are not sure about whether to keep them or not, and those you are sure about, just keep them, remove everything else. And those you are not sure about, get the full papers. Full papers are sometimes available on PubMed and on ResearchGate, and you can contact the main author. Ask them, maybe they will be able to provide you with the full paper. So ideally, this is how you will do it. So you get the full papers of those you had a doubt about, and you rely on the abstract you were confirmed about, and if the full paper is available, wonderful. And you will finally on PubMed, to be very honest, let's say after screening, you will hardly have like 50 papers available on PubMed. Now the second database, you will do the same thing, but if it's Web of Science, you don't do it. If it's Embase, look at it. Is controlled vocabulary available for that? I'll provide you the names of the databases that provide controlled vocabulary, where you have to do keywords plus mesh. Now, if it's a traditional review, then you are a hero. You don't need to worry about mesh. You just write down keywords like this. But of course, if you want to bring mesh, that's wonderful. So total 50 articles are left. And let's say this was total results from PubMed. So you have the record that what exact search strategy you used 3 times, and each strategy gave you these many numbers. After adding, and you got that kind of number. And after screening and applying the strict filters, inclusion exclusion criteria, you only got 56 papers in the end. So that's what PubMed gave you, 56. And then Prisma Guidelines wants you to write down the exact strategy of one more database. So follow the same approach on another database like PubMed, maybe Medline. Medline is actually another database. It's all the same family though, but it's a database. So maybe Medline, you do the same thing, and or PubMed Central, you do the same thing, and you get the results. So you now have 2 databases record of keywords and mesh and total number of papers, keywords and mesh and total number of papers. Now, how do you delete duplicates? Because if you search with the similar keywords on different database, don't you think you will find similar papers? Some papers will be similar. Let's say on other database, let's say we use Google Scholar, and you found 69 papers, but don't you think many will be repetition? So you will just keep those that are new, that are not there. So let's say 19 are only new, everything else is repeat. So total it should be somewhere like 75 papers, right? But how do you delete duplicates? If you have EndNote like Reference Manager, download the basic EndNote. It's free. Download EndNote Basic or Mendeley. It is free. You should have it. Gradually play along with it and you will learn it. But if you don't have it, that's fine. But I recommend that go ahead and do that. Learn more. So you have this 75 studies, but how do you delete duplicates? If you just simply Google it, how to delete duplicates on EndNote, it will show you how to do that. But can I tell you an easy way? You copy paste all the results that you found on PubMed initially, all the papers, you put them on Excel sheet. The same thing you do on a separate page on Excel sheet, all the papers you found by Google Scholar. Now, on the third page, you copy paste Google Scholar papers and you copy paste PubMed papers. It will automatically add. And Excel will tell you the repeated information. You organize them according to the author sequence and choose on the top on Excel sheet. They will ask you if you want to keep it with abstract. Once you do that, you remove the duplicates. Is so easy manually. It will show you what in a different color, that this is a repetition, this is a repetition, this is a repetition. Many people say I cannot do repetition, I hate EndNote. Just do it on Excel sheet. It's so simple. It's so simple. So this is how we do the search strategy. Now remember, keywords plus mesh. And what is mesh? Mesh is like a hashtag. You know, on Facebook and LinkedIn you see hashtags. It's just like hashtag. It will give you exact topics, but it will still miss some papers. That's why we need both. We need both. And how do we find mesh keyword? Now you know how to do it. Another way of finding mesh strategy, if you cannot find your ideal mesh strategy, call a librarian. Call a librarian of any university. Just ask them, can you please send me, this is my topic, I'm struggling to find my mesh strategy. Can you help me with the mesh strategy in PubMed? They will help you. Librarians are really, really wonderful and experts in this. But why can't you become an expert like them? You can. And you do that by doing it again and again, by trying different databases, and different mesh keywords, and see which one gives you more papers, more relevant papers. Try different strategies and you will be able to understand which is better for me. I would recommend go with a mesh strategy that gives you the maximum amount of papers in comparison to any other strategy that is given to you by PubMed as a suggestion in the tree. Don't do that. One by one, see which one has more results. Go for that. That is your mesh strategy. And then you have your keywords. Then you mix them together. Then you search. Now you will have wonderful results. And you can confirm if PubMed is really giving you the best results. Mesh keyword alone, search that mesh keyword and see how many papers are given. And mesh keyword, and if you have the correct number of papers, then it will show you with your mesh and keyword whatever those keywords alone were showing and whatever this was showing, simply the mesh. You add them together and you can calculate if the whole mesh strategy is really giving me the best results. Is it giving me the right number? You can get an idea out there. But now, before searching, one thing you need to remember: Boolean search. You cannot simply just search in a search bar without Boolean search. You cannot combine mesh strategy with your keywords without Boolean search. What is the Boolean search? What is the Boolean search? There are three things: and, or, and not. All capital. This is a rule. All capital, all uppercase. You cannot have them small. If you enter, let's say, heart, and let's say kidney. So if you are searching for heart and kidney, you put this and. So it will show you those papers who must talk about both in the same paper, same abstract and title. So if you want to search and advance your search strategy, you can mention and in between in some keywords. Repeat it. Now another way is to get more results, or, capital OR. Once you put that in the search bar, now it will show you more results, because it means the paper will either talk about this or this. And definitely it will talk about those two that were there. So it's bigger than and. And was just giving you those if they work together in one paper. But OR will give you even if they are separate. And the third one is not. Heart, not kidney. So it will just show you papers that talk about heart without involvement of kidney. So this is how you can keep changing, keep adding your keywords more and more by and by or, and by not, by and, by or, and not, and your whole search strategy can become really big. And keep it safe. You have to save it. You have to save it, because you will mention exactly as it is all 3 points, all 3 big strategies, along with how many papers it showed on your method section. In your paper, it is required by Prisma checklist. And of course, the results section. See the Prisma checklist method and results section. You will understand what I'm talking about. It will need that. And then in the end, PubMed, when you click on advanced, it will ask you an option. Do you want to get emails when similar articles are published? Then you click and add your email address there. They will send you the email and let you know if a similar or new article with the same mesh keyword is published. So you can add that right away. So that's why it is very important that on your protocol and on your data sheet, you should mention the dates, exact dates and time when you started search. See this now? This is getting a little complicated, but this is very enjoyable process. You will love it. You just divide it into chunks, one day at a time, small task, and you will be able to do it. If you really want to do a systematic review. Otherwise, go with a traditional review. Okay, so now, this is very important. And I will wrap up for this session, and we'll continue in another session from here. And then we will do another session combining everything, where I will share my screen and give you an example. So don't worry, we will repeat it again and again until you become an expert on systematic reviews. So don't get scared today. If it's the first time you are hearing these things, of course many of you are, so don't get scared. Watch the video again, then watch the video third time and fast forward. And then attend the second class, then attend the third class. Keep repeating the process, and you will see you will become an expert. It will become so easy. So they will send you email and remind you, let you know that new papers are there. So that's why the starting time of your phase 1, you always write a date. That when did you start? January 6th or 7th, 2021. Let's say this is the date you started. And when did you start data search with your keyword search strategy? When did you start your search strategy? You will mention it. You will mention it. January 8th. Maybe 12 p.m. Eastern time. This is the search strategy that was visible at that time. With the keyword, with the mesh keyword and this. So that other people can verify. So the time is very important. The time, the year is very important during your search strategy. And then in systematic reviews, what else you can add besides other papers from databases? Gray literature. Gray literature. What is gray literature? Gray literature is conference papers, theses, dissertations, all those things that are data, but they are not published. Unpublished sources. How do you find gray literature? Clinicaltrial.gov, clinicaltrials.gov. That's a website. That's where you can find DOAR. These are the websites and the places where you can actually find the gray literature. So once you have all this information, you copy paste every single. You are a new person and you follow the strategy. So this is it for today. Let's continue from here in the next session so that we complete everything about review and you become an expert in systematic reviews. Thank you. Okay. So what are the questions? Can we use Google Scholar for systematic review? I gave you an example, one PubMed and second Google Scholar, and Prisma checklist wants only 2 databases record. So you can just rely on 2 databases, to be very honest. Let other people rely on other databases because you have to finish a paper fast. You have to finish the paper fast. I hope you understand what I'm saying. You have to finish the paper fast and you don't have time to include all the databases. Otherwise, ideally, in the ideal world, if you were to write the best systematic review in the world, then you include all databases. Watch it multiple times. Keep taking notes. You should have better notes than even my notes. You should have better notes than that. And you should also point some things that and bring some more questions to me, because the more questions you will ask, the better you will be, more you will learn, and you will give me new things to learn. I have to call librarians. Yes, I do. I have to call professors. Yes, I do. Because nobody is perfect. We all are learning. So maybe your new question can open my eyes and give me something new. Okay, so watch this lecture again and create the 3 phases. By the way, what is the 3rd phase? Writing. 3rd phase is writing. But we will sit again and do the screen sharing and do an actual systematic review, literally a real systematic review. I'll start doing it in front of you on Zoom. I'll do that session. Probably maybe let's do it on Friday or Monday. If you guys are available, we can do that. And we will do an exact real search and you will see a real systematic review. So that's how we can actually make a difference, to be very honest. If we keep doing it again and again, if you keep attending my sessions, I think I should do this session until you guys memorize everything. How about this? Who wants to repeat it again and again? Who wants to repeat this process again and again so that you become an expert? Okay, Archana, for quality check, should I use the parent full text article or the references from the full text? Parent article. In fact, for a systematic review, try not to go into the references. Get the information from the main paper, that's it. For traditional review, you do. But for systematic review, it can ruin your search strategy. Then you have to mention that in the method section exactly, that we extracted the papers from the full papers, reference section, reference number, this and this. You have to be very accurate. Remember, systematic review system means transparency. You have to be 100% accurate, 110%, or I would say 1000% accurate. And that's it. So now what are other questions? If I have doubt, I have about 20 articles I went through to gather my data, and if 10 of those are full text articles and the data I saved from those full text articles are based on the references list. So Archana, yes, you will mention that in your method section. I would recommend if you really want to do that. But 20 articles are enough. 10 full articles and 10 were the abstracts, and you just say you relied on that, and try to get the 10 articles that are not available by contacting the main authors. They will get back to you. They do. Maybe you will find all 20 articles. Now you have it, just rely on these 20 articles and you can write a wonderful systematic review. And for quality check, we'll talk about this tomorrow, then in the next session. Quality check is done by various means. There are so many quality assessment tools, and there are some manual ways, and we'll talk about that. So what documents will you use? You will have a Word document ready where you will have your data sheet and make another sheet, call it as protocol. The third sheet you will have is an Excel sheet. The fourth thing you will have is the EndNote software basic version, or if you have the paid version, that's wonderful. If you don't, then that's fine. So if you have these four things, you're all set for your systematic review. You're all set as a hero, and go and eat it. You're bigger than a systematic review. It's nothing. I'm telling you, it's nothing. It's a baby thing. Younger people than you guys have done it. It's easy. It's just, it's very, I would say, complicated in a way that every step has to be written, kept a record of, and then mentioned in your method and result section. You cannot leave anything. That's why it's a little slow process. But if you do one step a day, you can do it. So you have phase one. Phase one had 3 steps. You can take 3 hours for that. That's it. And then phase two. Phase two will probably just divide into days. That first day I will do this. Second day I will do this. Third day I will do this. Fourth day I will do this. That's it. And you can write it fast. And you are just relying on 2 databases. I'm not asking you to rely on more databases, just 2 databases, PubMed and maybe something else, whatever you can open freely. Now, how do you know which one I choose for my research? Karez, what is your question? For keywords from your research question, the big theme of your research question. Remember, in my research question, I had 3 themes: itching, that was pruritus, depression, and escitalopram. These are my keywords. And the same will be my actually mesh keywords, but I need to confirm from PubMed. So I will go and click on mesh and type escitalopram, and I will find out, oh, escitalopram has a different mesh keyword, for example. So I just copy paste it and I bring it on my data sheet. So remember, everything you will be working on is on your data sheet and on your protocol side by side. Protocol will be the exact copy of a data sheet. So you learn how to do a protocol and you learn how to do your work. Your data sheet is actually your main paper work, that where you are actually doing your work. And where are you saving your papers? You know, I save my papers even in on my data sheet at the bottom, all the papers, and I also save all the papers. And I also save all the papers on Excel sheet. And if I save it on Excel sheet from PubMed, I'll show you later how you do it. Then you actually don't have to set it in a reference sequence. How do you remember the reference sequence? That's a challenge for many people, right? So it's a sequences like author name, title name, journal name, DOI. Author name, title name, journal name, DOI. ATJ D, yeah, DOI. ATJD. Author name, title name, journal name, DOI, and the year of publication. So in this sequence, if you write it down, that's how actually references are cited in your paper. So you save one paper in a Word document, full paper. Sorry, in PDF file. So my battery of the camera is about to go, and we're running out of time. Otherwise, I would have shown you something else. You know, just quickly. So you will have a Word document for your data sheet. Everything you will do here, your keyword strategy, everything, and you will keep a record of every single thing. And you will have a Word document for your protocol. You don't need it, but it's good to have it to know how to do it. In the future, you may need it. Maybe your professor in the future or supervisor will want it. So you know that protocol and data sheet is exactly the same thing, not 2 different things. Third thing you need, Excel sheet. So you save the paper references in Excel sheet, just copy paste them, and Excel will organize it really well. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fourth thing you need is EndNote. Basic version, that's free. And the fifth thing you need is all the full available articles. Save them in a PDF format on a new folder on your computer. That's it. These are the recipes. These are the first thing first that you need before starting a systematic review. Once you have it, you're all set. Then you start working on the phase 1, then phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Oh, sorry, phase 2, phase 3, and then publication. That's it. Okay, guys. Thank you. Anyone has any question? Traditional or systematic? If you are new, you have never written anything and you want a quick publication, go with traditional review. If you have time, you feel you want to do this hard work, then go with systematic review. In traditional review, it's not that kind of hard work. It's pretty straightforward. You can use just keywords, collect every kind of paper, no quality check, and you publish it. So if you want a rapid publication, go with traditional review. But if you have time, go with systematic review. Or let's start with a traditional review first, publish it, and when you have more confidence, work on a systematic review. And then you can also later enroll in our meta-analysis program. But first thing first is to learn to do systematic review. So that's it, guys. Thank you. And my battery is about to be finished, so I should leave now. And if you have any question, leave a message. I hope you guys enjoyed today's session. Everyone enjoyed the session today? Give me points on a scale of 1 to 10. Give me points so I can improve next time. 10 is the best. 10 is the best. 1 is the worst. Give me the points before you leave. Oh, thank you. 10. Oh, wow. Archana, thank you, Hiba. Oh, you were here, Hiba. I didn't know you were here. Okay. Don't make me happy. Be 100% honest. Give me points. 10. Okay. Naila, Nabil. Okay, Priyanka. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So I'm glad you guys understand it. I was so worried that many students that just don't get it. The problem, I think, is in the world outside, teachers all around the world, they don't know how to teach systematic review. They know how to do systematic review, but they don't know how to teach it. Nobody even discusses that you need these 5 things for a systematic review. For a traditional review, you just need this Word document for a data sheet. That's it. And of course, one more sheet where you will write your article. You call it as my article. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things for systematic review, and for traditional review, just 2 things. You don't need Excel sheet. You don't need EndNote. You don't need. You can do it with your hands. You don't. Yeah, you will need PDF documents if you find full papers. So yes, this too. This is also needed for traditional review. But no protocol. Any one of these is fine. Okay. Thank you, guys. See you next week. Oh, Karez gave me 11 points. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay. So let me schedule the next session where we will do a systematic review live. I will conduct it right in front of you. We will sit longer. It will be a long session on Zoom. I'll share the screen. We will do it live. Okay. Thank you, guys. See you again.